Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzy. This is the Farzy Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Lovely to have you along for the ride. Phillies lose their third straight game. Not great. Jimmy Butler and the Philadelphia 76ers, rumored to have interest, at least on the 76ers side, to bring back Jimmy Butler. Leave it to the 76ers to do something 5 years too late. I still think Jimmy Butler can play at a very high level. I think Jimmy Butler is still going to be one hell of a basketball player over this coming season and next year. The most comforting thing about this is not the fact that, of course, he's going to turn 35 years old by the time the season starts next year. His birthday's in September. Happy birthday, Jimmy. Anyway, it's very odd to me, but I actually see him still playing at a very high level over the next 2 years. And the only thing that's appealing to me about this is the idea of it only being a 2-year deal as opposed to a 4-year deal with George, the Paul George fella. The more I get into the weeds on the Paul George thing, is I just feel like he's stringing the Sixers along, and I feel like the Jimmy Butler reunion with the Sixers would actually be something that both parties would enjoy. Whether or not it's the right move, if you're only going to do it 2 years, I'm for that. I'm not for Jimmy Butler not being able to play in 70 games for that kind of money. That's a concern. That's a worry. But I also think that when it comes to joining this 76ers team, he could be exactly what they need. He's a talented player that is also a dog. He is the type of personality that you were trying to get in a Kyle Lowry. And he's a little bit younger than Kyle Lowry. He could certainly do more than Kyle Lowry. And we all know the history between him and Joel Embiid. So I'm very intrigued by Keith Pompey's story in the Inquirer yesterday about, and also today, about Jimmy Butler. So we'll get into that conversation, a little Eagles OTAs conversation as well. Players still running around at the NovaCare complex, having themselves a grand old time. We will get into that conversation, but we will start it off with your Philadelphia Phillies, because yesterday, somebody used the term boring in the postcast yesterday. And I mean, other than Zach Wheeler looking to figure things out on the mound, it was another start by a Phillies starting pitcher that was like, 19 pitches first inning, second inning, third inning, same type thing, where it was really tough for him to dominate it. Even after he settled in, when you toss 6 scoreless and you only allow 2 hits and 2 walks, it seems like you're pretty settled in. But if you watch the game, if you stayed up for the 9:45 start time, then you know that it wasn't exactly as easy as 6 scoreless, 2 hits, 2 walks. It was a labor-filled start for Zach Wheeler. He used 101 pitches over 6 innings of work. The last batter that he faced took him 10 pitches. So it wasn't easy for him, unfortunately, but he still was able to put up those numbers. And bottom line, put up the old zeros through 6 innings. The problem with that was that the Phillies, the starters, their lineup, they gave up the line. Yeah. They continued to struggle. Ice cold bats. And when you get in the extra innings, again, you couldn't score despite having the runner on second base to start things off. And not just that, Cody Clemens comes in there in the 10th inning there. He advances the runner. So Bryson Stott in this situation, he advances him to the third with 1 out, and you still couldn't bring him home. It's rough. It's rough. And that's where the Phillies are at right now. We knew they would kind of have this moment where they hit a lull. Zach Wheeler even said it after the game yesterday that it's tough to keep a pace where you're never losing 3 games in a row. You're never losing a series. And now they've lost 3 in a row. They've lost 2 consecutive series. And now they're only 5 games up on the Braves, who won last night. So it's rough right now for the Phillies. And you know what was really bothersome to me? I like the idea of giving Alec Boehm the day off. You needed to give Alec Boehm the day off. I am fine with giving Alec Boehm the day off. I even said on yesterday's show, I wouldn't be surprised if they gave Alec Boehm the day off. But you know what did surprise me? When the lineup card came out and Nick Castellanos was your cleanup hitter. I like Rob Thompson. I know I have some fun. I call him Tinker Topper and all that stuff. I like Rob Thompson. Let me just get that out of the way. I like Rob Thompson, but sometimes I watch Rob Thompson as I do almost any manager I've ever even liked, and I go, what the hell are you doing? What about Nick Castellanos makes you go, there's a cleanup hitter? Is it a lack of options by chance? Is that what does it? You don't feel like you have anybody else with Alec Boehm out of the lineup to be the cleanup hitter? Is it that you don't want to move JT Realmuto and his now record franchise-long hit streak of 17 games? You don't want to move him out of the 2-hole? Is it that Kyle Schwarber hit a home run 2 days ago, and you don't want to get him out of the leadoff spot? What is it about Nick Castellanos? Is it that you're not moving Bryce Harper out of the 3 spot? That I understand, sure. Because I honestly rather have Cody Clemens bat cleanup than Nick Castellanos. I know Cody Clemens will at least give me somewhat of an at bat. And I know Nick Castellanos actually was one of the few Phillies actually had a hit yesterday. So it seems odd that I'd be, upset about it. But we've all watched Nick Castellanos. Does he say, let me get the runners off the bases and touch it up with home plate? Does his approach to the plate, does that seem like somebody that could be a cleanup hitter right now for the Phillies? I didn't think so. Somebody in the postcast yesterday, I forget who it was, said, I'd rather have Garrett Stubbs as a cleanup hitter. I'm like, I've thought about it. At the time, I was coming off, a late game and extra innings, and I was a little mad. I will go ahead and recant that. Okay, fine. I'll take Nick Castellanos over Garrett Stubbs as a cleanup hitter on this team. I just don't understand it. You and I, when we've talked about this, a lot of us have been on the same page of, hey, giving Nick Castellanos a day off. Let's not have him play. Now, of course, you're not going to give Castellanos and Bohm the same day off, but there's a day to give him a day off now, Nick Castellanos. This would be the day. Yesterday, we would have liked to give Nick Castellanos a day off, and Rob Thompson said, hey, other than, forget about that for a second here, let's promote him in the lineup. Let's have him bat cleanup. Okay, great. Didn't work out. Didn't work out in a lot of situations for a lot of different hitters in yesterday's ball game, but Nick Castellanos is the one that stands out to me because he just was batting out of position. Today would be a good day for Nick Castellanos to get that day off, and if I had to make a prediction, today would be that day. You're going to be getting off today, what, the 3:45 start time, I believe it is today? It's a weird start time today. And then 3:35, and then you're off tomorrow, and then you're back home. So essentially, it'd be 2 days off for Nick Castellanos. It ended up not even being a day off for Alec Bohm yesterday because he had to grab a bat in the 10th inning for a pinch hit situation there, and he did not have success. So what are you going to do now with Nick Castellanos? I would hope that Rob Thompson would say, all right, look, he's been struggling at the plate. We want to get him going again. Maybe 2 days away. Maybe that'll be the good thing. Maybe today's the day where the Phillies bats actually break it open and make it a comfortable win. Who knows? They got a tough pitcher on the mound today. It's going to be a bit of a rough one. And that's the other thing that really bothered me about yesterday's game in particular. And there's even a more particular within the particular, and here it is. The Phillies bats faced a bullpen game yesterday. So in this series so far, you have faced Blake Snell, who sucks. Then you face a bullpen game, and you get shut out for not 9, but 10 innings. And one of the guys that shuts you down is your former number 1 prospect, Spencer Howard, who, although gave up hits, 4 or 5 hits he ended up giving up in that game yesterday. Although he gave up hits, obviously did not surrender a run. But he was out there for 4 innings of work. And he just took it to you. And you got on base, he found a way to get out of any jam that he was in. Phillies were 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. The bigger number to me that jumps out there is not the 0 there or the 0 there, it's the 5. You only had 5 opportunities with runners in scoring position, and that includes your at-bats there with a runner on second in extra innings. Cool. Spencer Howard yesterday, 4 innings, 5 hits, 4 strikeouts, 49 pitches. 49 pitches. In 4 innings of work. That's efficiency, baby. Not really working at bats. So that was that sucked. And Matt Strom, just difficult spot to be in. It's an unearned run, obviously, that he gets that he allows because it's a runner on second that scores in extra innings. I heard somebody refer to it as the zombie runner. Okay, ghost runner even feels weird to me because the ghost runner let me correct me if I'm wrong. Let me just go off on this for a second. When we were kids and we were playing, we didn't have enough players. That was the ghost runner, right? Ghost runner on second. Like there would be nobody on second, but that run had to be forced in. If you were playing wiffle ball, baseball, whatever as a kid, that was a ghost runner. It was somebody that didn't exist. This person actually exists. So the idea of calling it like the zombie runner, all right, I think that's even more accurate, sure. But the ghost runner thing, that doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So that just bothers me. That's my pet peeve for the day. Let's move on. So as far as this game went, the Phillies struggling as much as they did against this pitching staff. And of all the pitchers that they faced, the one that gave him the biggest fits was Spencer Howard. Because, of course, it was, right? You look at this game, a couple of hits there for Kyle Schwarber. JT extended the streak, as I mentioned. Bryce Harper now 0 for his last 10. Castellanos did get a hit, struck out twice. That's another thing. Yeah, let's get the guy that's now batting below 200, and let's get him in the cleanup spot. Let's get the guy with a 264 on-base percentage. Johan Rojas has a better batting average and a better on-base percentage than Nick Castellanos. Johan Rojas is hotter right now than Nick Castellanos. Johan Rojas would be a better option at the cleanup spot for the Phillies right now. But hey, instead of giving him the day off or bumping him down the lineup, make him the cleanup guy. Anyway, Cody Clemens over 4, Brandon Marsh over 4, Edmundo Sosa continues to hit, shocking, and Bryson Stott over 4 as well. His average now plummeted, 244 on the season. Come on now. Not great. Not great. As far as post-game, actually, before I even get to that, I wanted to get to the nitty-gritty of the game here. A couple of situations here for the Phillies. One came in the 4th inning when Spencer Howard was in the game. Harper fouled out to left field. Then Nick Castellanos got a 1-out hit. All right, let's make something happen here. Bryson Stott flies out to center field. Oh, Edmundo Sosa gets a single. Now you got runners on first and second with 2 outs. What can Brandon Marsh do for you? Marsh gets a 3-2 count, swings and misses at a high fastball. That was that. No threat. 5th inning, 1-2-3 inning. Phillies couldn't get anything going there. Or excuse me, Rojas ended up getting a single. That was good. Then it was a strike him out, throw him out double play with Kyle Schwarber at the plate. He strikes out. Johan. I don't know what's going on over the last couple of games here, but between Garrett Stubbs and whoever the Phillies have played, catching either for the Rockies or in this series here with San Francisco, the throws to second base have been on point, like right on the money. Like if they're in any other place, they're stolen base. They're literally perfect throws. And Rojas got thrown out yesterday trying to take second base there in that 5th inning. Then you go into the 6th inning. Phillies get another base runner early in the inning. This one's a leadoff double by JT Realmuto. I'm thinking, all right, great. He makes history for the Phillies. 17-game hit streak. Way to be, JT. And then he gets thrown out trying to take third base on a ground ball hit to his right. So he's standing on second. Rule of thumb is you don't go if it's in front of you. You only go if it's behind you. He goes, despite the fact it's in front of you. I will say it was a little bit of an awkward ball where I think most people would think the ball's going to get through. JT thought the ball was going to get through off the bat of Bryce Harper. So he takes off for third base. He's toast on the fielder's choice. So now you have, instead of a runner on second, or in this case could have possibly been runners on first and second with nobody out. Because the way that ball was hit, slow, Harper probably would have been able to beat it at first base if JT stays at second. Doesn't stay at second, goes for third, gets thrown out. So now you have a runner on first with 1 out. So you continue in that 6th inning. Harper grounds into the 6-4, 6-5 fielder's choice. Castellanos strikes out on 3 pitches. That's your cleanup hitter. Bryson Stott lines out to right field. Then you go into the 7th inning. Phillies again get a leadoff runner on. Can't do anything with it. 8th inning, that was Edmundo Sosa's leadoff single. 8th inning, hey, let's go for 3 in a row here. Schwarber gets a leadoff single. Realmuto strikes out. That's when they had Jelly in, the submariner. They were calling him sidearm guy. He's more of a submariner. And then Harper goes up there. He grounds into the fielder's choice. Schwarber strikes out. Schwarber gets thrown out at second base. Castellanos then grounds out to shortstop. 1 pitch. Again, another quick at bat there by your cleanup hitter. That's the way that went down. 9th inning. Phillies couldn't get anything going. Hoffman gets out of a jam there in the bottom of the 9th inning. Phillies in the 10th. Cody Clemens grounds out to second. There should be the first. He advances Bryson Stott to third. Bohm goes down, grounding out to first. Schwarber gets the intentional walk, and JT grounds out to short. Strahm almost got out of it, but he didn't, and he allowed the only run of the ball game. 3 in a row. 3 in a row. As you would assume, your manager after the game, that's baseball. When you talk about how much this Phillies offense has struggled recently.
Offensively. That's baseball. It's the ebbs and flows of the game. This club's going to hit. We're just going through a rough patch right now, so we've got to come in here tomorrow and get after it again.
How much of tonight was just like the kind of the funkiness or deception that the Giants have from the bullpen, bringing different looks out?
Yeah, a little bit of that. We haven't seen Spencer Howard, although these guys, some of them have seen him in spring training, but sometimes, especially when an experienced club, you see a guy for the first time, and it's different. You got to get adjusted to it. But like I said, we got to come out tomorrow and start swinging bats.
Let's do that. That'd be a nice thing to see. Very frustrating last couple of days here with the Phillies. I hate that's baseball. I hate, there's 162 games. I hate ebbs and flows, right? The unfortunate fact of the matter is that they happen. And all the cliches about a long season can be applied to what the Phillies are going through right now. My bigger problem isn't what's just going on right now, but it's what's been going on throughout the season. It's also Bryce Harper 0 for his last 10. I know that's not a huge disappointment, a huge a slump by any means. Bryson Stott 2 for his last 26 now, I believe it is for him. This is struggle. I mean, Alec Boehm continues to hit with runners in scoring position and 2 outs, and he's done that all throughout the month of May. But also in the month of May, he has struggled in terms of overall performance. 250 batting average right now. That's down from the 330 we were experiencing not too long ago. So there has been some struggles here to go along with some great numbers there by the Phils. And the guys that have really come up huge are the guys that I keep on referencing as the end of the bench guys, or not even end of the bench, but bench guys. Edmundo Sosa gets another 2 hits for you. His on-base percentage still stays is at 400 on the dot right now, as a matter of fact. I've never seen a reverse hero complex or Superman complex where usually it's like, the guys like Edmundo Sosa, we'll just sit back and wait for Bryce Harper to hit a home run and we'll all be right with the world. Feels like the other way now. It's like, Edmundo Sosa and Garrett Stubbs and Cody Clemens have it. We'll just let them lead us to victory. That's kind of how it feels right now. It would be nice. It would really be nice if that Nick Castellanos guy discovered consistency of an all-star caliber like he had last year. That'd be great too. Don't see that happening. So it's not just about what's gone on in this series so far against the San Francisco Giants. It's not about also dropping 2 of 3 against the Colorado Rockies. It's a little bit of a concern now too when you talk about not being able to score with a runner on second base in extra innings. Little horrifying. Say the absolute least. Horrifying. But that's where we're at. That's where we're at right now. Because it's a 162 game season, there's ebbs and flows, and it's just one of those things because that's baseball. That might be a record for the most cliches that I've ever gotten to, like a 3-second span. Anyway, Phillies back at it today, this afternoon. We'll cross our fingers that they actually get it going. Let's jump in to this story, shall we? This is from Keith Pompey, Inquirer.com, citing sources, not a source, as in singular, but multiple sources say that the Sixers are prepared to give Jimmy Butler a maximum extension if the Heat star is traded. So for the record, yes, not a free agent. This would have to involve some sort of trade. Keith Pompey does point out in the story the Sixers over the next couple of years have 5 first-round picks to offer, second-round picks as well, and a boatload of cashola to throw around. Butler has $48.8 million guaranteed for next season and a player option of $52.2 million for the following season of 2025 and 2026. The former Sixers star wants a 2-year max extension, $113 million. Holy Stromboli. What? Going to be 35 when the season starts. Keith Pompey goes on to explain. According to those sources, the Sixers are prepared to give Butler the max extension if he does in fact get traded out of Miami. Butler, 35, September 14th. Woo, baby. There have been reports that Miami may look to trade the small forward rather than give him an extension. Pat Riley did recently say that they don't have plans to trade Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is on the record, said in an article in GQ, of all places, that he wants to remain with the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler, over the last couple of seasons, has failed to play more than 65 games. He's only played more than 60 games once. And that was when the Heat found themselves in the finals in 2022-2023. He played 64 games that season. He has averaged over 20 or more points over the last 4 seasons that he has been in Miami. He averaged 19.9 in 2019 and 2020. His year with the Sixers was an incredible year. 55 games he played for the Sixers that year. If you remember, he got traded well before the trade deadline. I believe it was in November, if I'm not mistaken. And he played 55 games for the Sixers that year, averaged 18.2 points per game. And I still say that was the best brand of basketball I've seen from the 76ers in the post, quote-unquote, process era. In other words, where they really sucked for 3 years. That Jimmy Butler squad, I said towards the end of this season, when he got Joel Embiid back, that brand of basketball was the most fun basketball I've watched from the Sixers since the Jimmy Butler days. I still feel like there's a lot of that Jimmy Butler left. However, you don't need, this is one of the things that I keep on wanting to focus on as we go through the Paul George thing, as we go through Jimmy Butler now, as we go through even Brandon Ingram's younger, certainly, so not as much. But one of the things I really do look at, if you are going to bring in a veteran, and I saw also one of the stories come out yesterday about the Sixers being a quote-unquote threat to draft Bronny James and sign LeBron James. The Sixers are a threat, not the leader in the clubhouse, but a threat. That, to me, jumps out as exactly what we have talked about over the last couple of weeks since the 76ers season has ended. We have talked about how the Sixers are going to get dragged in and mentioned many, many times just so whoever's out there trying to get the most money possible can say, well, the Sixers are interested and they have all that money. So if you don't want me to go to the Sixers and make that money, you better pay me. Sixers are being used for leverage right now because everybody knows they could have up to $65 million in cap space this offseason, and free agency gets underway officially. The offseason gets underway officially in about a month. So that's where we're at right now. So when I saw that story about LeBron James, in case you haven't seen that, that's the first thing that jumped to mind. Oh, and the Sixers are a threat. Sure they are, pal. Sure they are. But when I talk about these stars that could be coming here to Philadelphia, that might be a little bit over the hill. One of the things I try to fall back on is, yes, although the money would suck to tie up that much money in a player that is without question on the decline, and might even have questions about health, whether it is Jimmy Butler or it is Paul George, one thing to fall back on is the idea that they won't be asked to do nearly as much. With the rise of Tyrese Maxey and the level of play that Joel Embiid is at, with, yes, the question of whether or not Joel Embiid is going to be healthy enough to last you a full season and be 100% by the time the playoffs roll around. That's the concern. It's not necessarily during the regular season whether or not these guys can give you whatever they got left in the tank. The question is whether or not in the postseason they're going to be able to get to that real high level of play, that all-star caliber play that we know they can get to. But if you are 35 years old, like Jimmy Butler's about to be, and you're coming here to the Philadelphia 76ers, you don't got to be that number one guy. You might be that alpha personality. I would like to see how would it go down between Jimmy Butler and Tyrese Maxey? What would that relationship be like? We already know the relationship between Joel Embiid and Jimmy Butler. They're buds, they're boys, they're friends. What would it be like with Tyrese Maxey being here? I think Maxey, the first thing he would do is try to learn from Jimmy Butler, the same thing he did with James Harden. And I feel like if that relationship could end with Tyrese Maxey saying he loves James Harden and those guys more so playing the same position, because you had, at the time, Tyrese Maxey trying to get used to playing the point guard position, you at least would have a more off-the-ball guy, not a guy you had to rely on to be your point guard in the quadruple doink year when you stripped Ben Simmons really of that role. I don't see that happening with Tyrese Maxey. I don't see all of a sudden Jimmy Butler becoming the point guard of this team. He'd be more off the ball with the 76ers than he would be with the Miami Heat. He would be the third scorer on this team. If you're telling me that you're bringing in Jimmy Butler on this team and you're keeping Kelly Oubre and Nico Batum comes off the bench and you have a backup center, I'm feeling pretty good about that team. That's a very talented roster. If Jimmy Butler still has something left in the tank, which I believe he does, yes, the money would suck, but it's only 2 years. And as the skills or the health might decline, injuries go on a little bit more, well, then you could be looking at somebody who will be able to take a step back as guys like Tyrese Maxey step up on this roster. And it would, like I said, it would have to be a trade, so the Sixers would have to be freeing themselves, most likely of a first-round pick and later picks and stuff like that as well. That's likely what would have to go down here. But if both parties are willing to come together and make this deal happen, I'm happy if Jimmy Butler's on this team. The concern then would shift to what does March, April, what does that look like when a guy who hasn't played more than 65 games in 5 years, what does it look like when he's on your roster? What does it look like late in the season when Joel Embiid is starting to wear down a little bit? What does it look like then? That would be my main concern. Hey, look, legit injury that knocked Jimmy Butler out last year. But when it comes to just overall wear and tear of guys that aren't getting any younger, that is obviously a concern. My number one thing, my desire, like I understand, like my idea, the Sixers are going to go out there and they're going to sign a name. They're going to sign a very talented player. They're going to bring that talented player in. They're going to give him a lot of money. Right now, I guess I would look at it as Jimmy Butler's the leader in the clubhouse to be a 76er. Because I think Paul George is just kind of stringing the Sixers along as for right now. And in the story that Keith Pompey points out, he does talk about how George is trying to work something out with the Clippers. But one of the things that sticks out to me that is interesting is that, yes, I do think the Sixers are going to sign a big-name player, and they are going to give out a lot of money to that big-name player. Max-level deal. My desire is that the Sixers, they don't get that guy. I would rather them get guys that are going to come in here and be more in the role player type of situation than try to come in and be one of the dominant players. Like, I look at Kelly Oubre as a guy that would be wonderful to have for another year. I do look at Brandon Ingram as a very intriguing pickup. Not coming off his best year by any means, but I would still love to see him on this roster. I need to have a guy like Andre Drummond in here again because when Joel Embiid is off the court, I can't have everything go to hell. That's more for me. And watching teams like the Mavericks, the Timberwolves surviving last night, they just got a bevy of big guys that can deliver, and obviously led by Anthony Edwards, who was just playing out of his mind. Like, these teams have the depth. A team like the Dallas Mavericks has your 2 stars, and then they have guys that play their roles very, very well behind those 2 stars. The big 3 for me is not a huge thing anymore. Like, even looking at the Boston Celtics, yeah, they got Drew Holiday, certainly a star, and then they've had Jaylen Brown, and they've obviously had Jason Tatum. That's up pretty close to a big 3 type of deal. The Sixers, for me, I think they have their big 2, and I think what will work best for them is if they bring in guys that can back those guys up. Going after that 3rd star, yes, it would be great. It's obviously going to cost you. Health-wise, I don't know what they're going to have left in the tank at this age. I feel like it's almost forcing a situation. And the Sixers, over the last couple of years, have just felt like they have forced a situation. And coming off the James Harden deal, it felt like certainly the Sixers forced a situation. The one outlying thing that I will say about Jimmy Butler, just last thing on this, is, so for the record, just for clarity, I am all for filling out the roster with good players as opposed to signing one player that you're putting all your eggs in that basket. That's my desire. My prediction is they don't do that at all. That Paul George will be a Sixer, or Jimmy Butler will be a Sixer, or even LeBron James will be a Sixer. Like, that's the direction I see the Sixers going. My desire is that they just fill up the roster with talent. Not necessarily one big name player, but they add a lot of little pieces that equate to one big piece. So that's where I'm at right now with the 76ers. It's rough. It's rough. There's this one outlying thing with the Jimmy Butler situation, and it does have to do with the relationship with Joel Embiid. And it's not just, oh, Jimmy is here with his friend Joel again, and Joel has his friend Jimmy Butler. It's not that. It's what Jimmy Butler can get out of Joel Embiid. That's one of the big things. And I hate even talking about this when you're talking about an MVP caliber player in Joel Embiid. But one of the things that really impressed me this past year with Joel Embiid, while I know a lot of people were dogging him for not being ready. And look, you're right. Physically, he got hurt again. Physically, it's always something with Joel Embiid. These are all facts and all things that we have put on repeat throughout his career. It's always something in the postseason with Joel Embiid. But here's something that I really liked from Joel Embiid last year in the playoffs. He should not have been playing, man. There's no way he should have been playing. The only way the Sixers had a chance at winning that series is if Joel Embiid played. Then are we all on the same page with that? Is that a statement of fact for most people? The only reason they were even in that series a little bit is because Joel Embiid played. He doesn't play? That's a quick series, man. That's a real quick series. I'm impressed with the fact that he tried to tough it out because it's the only chance the Sixers had of winning. So with him coming off the end of the season like that, I'm going to use this word. It's going to make some people cringe, but showing that kind of toughness that we really haven't seen from Joel Embiid to really try to fight through an injury big enough where he shouldn't have been playing. Bell's palsy to boot, should not have been playing, but he played. That's toughness to me. When you're playing through something because you know it's the only opportunity your team has of playing, that's toughness to me. Sure, you had spells like what was it, game 4 back in South Philly, where he got one shot off in the final 4 minutes of the game? Gross. But Jimmy Butler being here, I think, would bring more of that out in Joel Embiid. Because one thing I did learn from this series against the Knicks was that Joel Embiid has it. He has that toughness within him where he can power through an injury. And this was something that he was able to power through. And this wasn't some nagging ankle injury. This wasn't some gastroenteritis like he had in that Jimmy Butler year against the Raptors. It wasn't that. This was a legit meniscus tear, recovering from surgery, tweaking it twice, getting smacked in the face, getting an eyeball poked, Bell's palsy on top of it all. And still he played. And for a lot of the series, played at a very high level. Jimmy Butler can only bring out more of that from Joel Embiid. And I think he absolutely, other than just bringing in talent, would bring in that snarl that the Sixers team needs. One thing I try to keep in mind about the Jimmy Butler idea here in Philadelphia. If Jimmy Butler's a Sixer tomorrow, I'm happy. I still think the way to go is fill out that roster, baby. Fill out that roster. Eagles OTAs continue yesterday. There's a story that came out about Devin White looking pretty good in coverage, if you will, against Saquon Barkley. Okay. I'm already over OTAs, and I just want to get to minicamp next week. That's where I'm at when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, and really just continuing. There's supposed to be media availability later today after practice, so I look forward to seeing what some of the guys said. We heard from Jalen Carter last week. We heard from Tyler Steen last week. We heard from what else did we hear from last week? Whole bunch of guys. So I look forward to hearing from some other guys and get their perspective on what's going down with your Philadelphia Eagles and how everyone's feeling about everything coming together. That'll be, tomorrow. Media is allowed in tomorrow. Press conferences take place after practice in the auditorium. So more of a report tomorrow on what's going on with the Eagles and OTAs. Hey, let me tell you about MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Take advantage of all they have to offer at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Download the app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Want to bet on the world of basketball? Want to bet on the world of hockey? It's all right there at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Want to bet on the world of baseball? MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. And maybe if betting on sports isn't your thing, maybe you like to bet on the world of politics, you could do that on MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. You could also bet on the world of television. Who's going to end up with who? MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Download the app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. How about the Game Time app? Want to go to the game? Want to go to the concert? Want to go to the comedy show? Want to go to the big event? If it's got tickets, Game Time app's got it. Download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get $20 off your first purchase. They got flash ticket deals. They got zone ticket deals. They even have ticket deals for an hour after the event starts for mega huge savings. So download the Game Time app and take advantage of all they have to offer. A few of my favorite things with the Game Time app, the Game Time guarantee, one of them. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less money on another site or app, the Game Time app will get you back on 110% of the difference. That's right. They'll refund your account 110% of the difference on the Game Time app. Also, all-in pricing. So when you buy your seats that you're thinking of $30 and you go to check out and you're like, hold on, how'd they become 40? No. All-in pricing, so you know the deal before you check out. They also have a panoramic view of the seat you're about to buy before you buy it, so you know exactly what you're buying with your money. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code Farzy, and get $20 off your first ticket purchase on the Game Time app. How about PHL Sports Nation? Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. And our friends at Sky Motorcars. Check out Brett's amazing inventory at SkyMotorcars.com. That's SkyMotorcars.com. Now let's get into the chat to check and see how you guys are doing on this fine Wednesday morning. Buddy Christ, good morning. Forgot what it feels like to see the Phillies lose 3 in a row. Time to pick it up. Can't stand the West Coast baseball. We've actually gotten a little bit of a break with this West Coast trip because this was not 9:45, and then we had the weekend with the Rockies. So it wasn't that bad in terms of like the real late start times. Wasn't that bad. This is the last time was the latest that we had, and I'm fine with that. This afternoon, 3:45. I can deal with that. That's fine with me. No problem there. I'm good with that. That's where I'm at as far as that goes. April, good morning, April. IBH, what's going on? April, best part of Angel Hernandez retiring is everyone's showing the Schwarber clip again. Absolutely. April, thank you for the Angel Hernandez lowlights for him. Everyone has been putting that together, and I laugh every time. I remember when robo-umps really started becoming a conversation, I pictured Angel Hernandez doing the Tom Amansky style. Remember those? Watching ESPN. I remember watching SportsCenter when you were a kid and the Tom Amansky videos would come up. These are the videos that get results with Fred McGriff and the huge hat. That get results. Like Fred McGriff is the guy you got to back this? Okay. And you have tips from Wally Joyner. You know? I think that was the same video. And it was, this is the videos that produce back-to-back national AAU champions. And there's like kids throwing baseballs into trash cans. Like, wow, he can throw them into a trash can. He's really good. I pictured Angel Hernandez doing, hi, this is Angel Hernandez for Robo Umpires. You know me, I'm Angel Hernandez. I sucked at my job. If you don't want other guys to suck at their job, Robo Umps. I'm Angel Hernandez for Robo Umpires. That would sell. That would sell. If you have anyone that's like, oh, human error is part of the game. So you're a big Angel Hernandez fan, are you? Because, you know, there's a lot of human error there. Daniel, what's going on? Good morning. IBH, Angel Hernandez was definitely the worst. And that's saying something, considering how bad Joe West was. The thing that bothered me, like Joe West, I think Angel Hernandez was a worse umpire. Joe West was more annoying. Angel Hernandez, like Joe West, like if you have a nickname as an umpire like Cowboy Joe West, that's bad. You shouldn't have a nickname. I don't even want to know your name if you're an umpire, really, because if the old saying goes, if you're a good umpire, chances are people don't know your name because we haven't complained about you. It's the only time people talk about umpires. Nobody knows your name. That's a good thing. If not only do I know your name, but I know your nickname, that too is terrible. And the thing that who I'm trying to think. Laz Diaz. Yeah, that strikeout is so damn annoying. What was more annoying was the Joe West, the little shimmy, boop, little thing he'd do, you know? Really, he'd be like, oh, like a strike on the corner, but oh yeah, that was a strike, boom. He'd do that little, the finger out, not even or a or boop, that little thing. Oh my God, that drove me crazy. I hated that. Laz Diaz, Joe West, Scott Barry. When he threw out Ryan Howard, when Ryan Howard put his hands on his hips and kind of stared at him when he said he offered at a pitch and he didn't, it's the most mad I've ever seen Ryan Howard. And that was a late game. I remember just thinking Scott Barry, who was a rookie umpire at the time, he's got a little better. I'll give him that. But still, this is moments burned in my brain. And it was a late game, and I was like, oh, poor little rookie got tired. He got cranky and threw out Ryan Howard. And then he mocked Ryan Howard by putting his hands on his hips. Oh, baby, don't do that. I was like, oh, now I'll know the name Scott Barry for the rest of my life. So that means he's going to be a terrible umpire. Laz Diaz, Scott Barry, Livan Hernandez, all of them. I think Livan Hernandez was the worst. And it feels good to say was. Because balls and strikes were not his forte. Very glad, very happy for Major League Baseball. The other thing that gets me is the reaction in those videos. Like, for instance, the one April sent me. The reaction of the players in those videos are like, you got to be kidding me. Like, that's not even close to a strike. And, of course, Kyle Schwarber's the best. Sean Kilrain, good morning on. Morning. Sean Kilrain, sorry, I didn't talk the ish to Nicky 3 Buttons yesterday. He needs to be benched for sure. Just give him some time off, baby. Just give him some time off. Sean Gillespie, what's going on? Sean Kilrain. We post best 20-plus game record of all time. We lose 3 games. Everyone losing their minds. If these were, I don't know, put it this way. Yesterday was a 1-run game, but it was a 1-0 game. You can't score runs in Colorado. With the exception of that the 9th inning, 6-run 9th inning against the Rockies. Other than that, terrible. Bryson Stott, really struggling. Not great. Not great. The Butler contract. But it's 2 years. Sean Gillespie, Jimmy Butler at 35, don't know. Old and injury prone. We already have that. Yeah, like if you're asking me, do I want Jimmy Butler? No. If you sign Jimmy Butler, I find a way to cope. Put it that way. Hell no. Keep Jimmy where he at, says WC13. Wait, no way we can't do Ghost of Sixers Past. Keep Grandpa in Miami. Stan Bruce. That is funny. Keep Grandpa in Miami. I saw Jimmy Butler because I follow him on Instagram. He was just making some pizza. He was just learning how to make pizza. I really like Jimmy Butler. Like, he's a very curious guy. Like, I love that. I love that since the soccer guy, Ted Lasso. I love ever since that dart scene, people have really enjoyed the phrase like "be curious," And I love that. I love people that are very curious, not judgmental, curious. Jimmy Butler's a very curious guy. Very curious about coffee. He's become a barista. During the bubble in Florida, he was making coffee. He was charging guys $20 a cup. But as he said, and I agree with him, the clientele he was serving can afford it. And then he goes to a little Italian fellow and he learns how to make a fresh pizza. I like that Jimmy Butler guy. Greg Benson leaving today for a trip to PA. I'll try to bring some wood for the lineup. There you go, Greg. Thanks. They need it. Sean Gillespie, Timberwolves are young and aren't giving up, unlike some teams with older players. That is pretty fun to watch. It's pretty amazing to watch, actually. That video of Kylie had me cracking up. Jason. What did I miss? Missed something here. Scoozy. Mike Friedel, what's going on? Top of the morning to you. Big Rhythm. Embiid haters can say he's made of glass, but they have to drop this. A Big Rhythm, best way to put it. The glass argument is, I mean, there's no argument. He's made of glass. That's unfortunately the way it is. But as far as toughness, him trying to play through that series at all showed me a lot. Wow, Big Rhythm. You might be my favorite philosopher. Umpire Joe West, Cowboy Joe West was an a-hole. Hernandez was just dumb. That is a great way to put it. That is a great, like Cowboy Joe West, I could be like, I can see how he got this job. But the other guy, not so much. Scott T, men never landed on the moon. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate you. Emo Jimmy was great. I appreciate Jimmy Butler showing up as he is pictured in our thumbnail on YouTube to picture day with his hair combed down like that. That was pretty funny. There's a video of some schmuck down the shore giving Kylie. Oh, Kylie. Oh, my God. Yeah. Kylie Kelsey. A hard time because she didn't want to take a picture. Kylie stood on a business. That's great. No, that that was people like they have a right to live their lives, man. Like I'm surprised in Sea Isle it happened, like someplace fairly local where they're in their natural habitat. It's not like they're traveling in Disney or something like that, and people lose their minds over the rare opportunity to see them. I'd love to see the full video. I have seen the video of Kylie Kelsey going off on this lady who supposedly asked for a picture, and they said no because they were on a date and they were trying to, I think, to go into a restaurant. And then words started getting exchanged. And I love Jason being in the background being like, I don't know how this is going to go. And Kylie and this woman are face to face. And this guy comes in and tries to break it up, like separate the ladies. Now, there's nothing physical, but he just tried to get in the middle and separate the ladies. And I'm like, they got a right to say no. Even if you're so sorry to bother you. Like, I don't understand I'm so sorry to bother you. Can I get a picture with you guys? No. Well, screw you guys. Like, what? That's not how that goes. Like, okay, have a great night. How does that turn venomous? Like, are you that desperate to attempt to increase your own profile and standing by glomming on to two people trying to enjoy a night out? To the Duchess of Delco? Really? I'm a big fan of Kylie Kelsey. Before she is, and I'm so happy that she has blown up to the status that she's at now, which is fantastic. I love that she's just a very real person. I've had a number of interactions with her over the years. Most recently at Jason Kelsey's Underdog clothing launch before last season. Big fan of her family, awesome family, and obviously a big fan of Jason Kelsey. I don't have any problem with those people, of anybody of status, being like, not right now. They got a right to it. And I love that most of the people have had their backs, especially Kylie's in that situation. And what really bothers me is, like, I got to know Claude Giroux pretty well when he was here in Philadelphia, and I hosted some charity events with him. And I've seen the guy really give time to fans. And then I hear what people call up to like WIP or the Fanatic, and they're like, I saw Claude Giroux and he didn't give me an autograph. I'm like, okay, well, sorry, he didn't. I don't know what he was doing at the time, but I'm not just going to jump on to he's a jerk because he didn't sign an autograph for you. Like, that's one thing that is just unfair with anyone in the public eye. Like, you never know what they have going on. You never know what instances they're in. All you know is that they said no to an autograph. And because of that, they're the worst person ever. Like, I was a kid. Like, it was funny. For me as a kid, I never wanted autographs. My mom always wanted autographs, so I would get autographs. But it just never really, I didn't understand it. But people like them. Now it's the selfie. Can I get a selfie? Okay, hold on. 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait, hold on. Wasn't on. Hold on. Oh, sorry, it was in video mode. No, I'm fine with that. Sean Gillespie, people are just idiots. Oh, Big Rhythm. Excellent. Big Rhythm, you're on fire today. Kelsey's were on a date without the kids. Give him a break. Great point. The missus and I had a little day date yesterday. Dropped the kids off at school. Went out for a nice little brunch. And, Lil Toots was heartbroken. You're going without the kids? We're like, wow. She still wants to party. April, yeah, that's so tacky. Let people live. Let them live. Especially when you know there's so many instances of them actually granting that request for people. Stupid. Ridiculous. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are great, as per usual. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motor Cars, SkyMotorCars.com. Phillies back at it 3:45 today. San Francisco Giants. Philadelphia Phillies, 3:45 start time. Lefty versus lefty matchup. Christopher Sanchez, 2-3 in the season with a 3.15 ERA, taking on Kyle Harrison of the San Francisco Giants. Christopher Sanchez coming off a 5 1/3 performance, allowing just one run. It was that loss, unfortunately, the first loss to the Colorado Rockies in Game 1 of that series. 5 1/3, 1 run, 7 hits, issued just 1 walk in that game. As for the Giants starter, Kyle Harrison, he has been pretty damn good this season for them. Sub-4 ERA, just under, but a 4-1 record, 3.90 ERA on the season. Left-handed pitcher, 22 years old. He is coming off 3 straight starts of going 5 innings in each of them. He has allowed 10 runs over those 3 starts. 10 earned runs, and 2 home runs. His last start was a 5-inning performance, allowing 5 runs, 4 of them earned on 6 hits and 2 homers, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts against the New York Mets, and that's who the Phillies face today. In the NBA, people, let's jump over to this. Other than Jimmy Butler, it was an incredible game last night, an incredible Game 4 between the Timberwolves and the Mavericks. Woof! 105-100 in what felt like, in flipping back and forth from the Phillies during commercials over to the Mavs, it felt like a heavyweight fight, just haymakers being exchanged. But the Dallas Mavericks were not able to complete the sweep of the Timberwolves. Timberwolves win that one 105-100. Anthony Edwards, 29 points in the win for Minnesota. That's the way that game works out. Now, Game 5 takes place tomorrow night back in Minnesota. Stays in Minnesota. 8:30 tip-off tomorrow night. That's the way that goes. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys are great, as per usual. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Farzy Show YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. Follow all your Philly sports right then and there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. See you guys tonight on Locked On Sports Philadelphia for postcast after the Phillies and Giants wrap up their 3-game series by the Bay. See you then.